All right, folks, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Monday night. It is time for another live Q&A, as always. If you're new here, this is a live Q&A that we do every week when we're not traveling. Speaking of which, we won't be here next week. But yeah, and we answer basically all of your drone questions. So if you have a question, you leave it in the comments. Jason is in the back room over there, and he is filtering through the questions and then giving them to me in Slack, and then I answer the question. That's kind of how we work this process. So kind of excited. We're going to be at Commercial UAV Expo next week, which is in Las Vegas. We're going to drive there on Monday, set up on Monday, be there on Tuesday for the big event. We have a big presentation with 4 different speakers lined up. So if you haven't signed up yet, if you're going to Commercial UAV, you definitely want to be there. And then on Wednesday, the show begins on Tuesday night. Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be the show. I have a presentation on Wednesday. I have a presentation on Thursday. So it's going to be a busy week. It's going to be exciting. So I hope to see you there. Make sure you stop by at the booth. I don't remember our booth number, but you can really hardly miss it. We're right on the main hallway on the left side. So once you get in, you'll see us on the left, front and center, which is exciting. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. We've done more Part 108. I don't want to hear about Part 108 anymore. No, I'm kidding. I do want to hear your questions, but we've it feels like that's all we've done and put every other project to the side in the last couple of weeks. So I've been meeting with a lot of different organizations on the manned aircraft side, on the unmanned aircraft side, trying to see what everybody is talking about. We have a big group that we've met twice now. We're going to meet one more time to try to come up with a solution to this thing so that you can be included in Part 108 instead of being pushed to the side. So it's no small feat trying to think about what we're proposing to the FAA, if it's reasonable, if it's feasible, feasible, 2 different things. And of course, we can ask whatever we want, but if it's not feasible, then there's no point in asking. So there will be more on that when we come back from Commercial UAV Expo. We will have a guide. The idea is when the week after we come back from UAV is to record the video to help you make your comment. Gives you about 3 weeks to send your comment to the FAA, 2.5 weeks probably. And then, yeah, that's where we are. So we're putting all of our heads together so that we can talk about this at UAV with other people and then go from there. I don't know why I got talking about Part 108 so quickly, but anyways, here we are. I'm going to say hi to people, and then we're going to start going after the questions. We have Gus 450R is here. Curtis Warren, as always. Brian is here. Thorol Inspired, always, as well. Joseph Barillo. We have Paul Sturdivant. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that name before. So welcome. Maybe I have, but maybe not one of the first one that logs in. Steve A is here. Bluegrass UAS. We have FPV Zone. Dave DeVore. Alexander Blankenship. Flying Brian. Sergio de la Garza. We have Scott Jordan. Paul Zudervelt. We have After As Media, Just Johnny 2012, Scott, Kavi Patel, Leo de Cardenas. We have Happy RC Flyers, Dragonici, Old Manitent. I don't know what that means. Probably nothing, but that's what it is. Darren is here. Richard Hooker. We have Ralph Bruce. Minnesota Vance. We have James Bareka. Drone Eagle. El Kaba. Happy RC Flyer. Stinker 337. Holy crap, there's a lot of you. Dave DeVore. You guys are awesome. Creed is here. That's how it's spelled. There's a lot of E's. Creed OG is here. Texas Drone Co. is here. Okay, Boomer. Texas Drone Co. That's our friend Jared, who is also going to be at Commercial UAV Expo. Also speaking, also doing a course as well on mapping. Exciting stuff. Rick Hone, Chris Muncie, Cloud Camper, Mikey World, Joseph Barillo, I said that already. Aman is here. Christopher, Superdank 420 is here. iTooth 2. Christopher, David, Donna, Mikey. Okay. Bem is here. Verg. No, Bem with an M, not Ben with an N. Much cooler with an M.
I have an M in my name.
Benjamin? You like it when I call you Benjamin, so I'm going to do that more. Grenville is here. All right. I think we've got everyone. Man of God is here. Jada is here as well. Okay. Cool stuff. Let's get to the first question. Well, there's a bunch of questions already. Holy crap. Say my name 4 times now. Christopher. If I say it 3 times, he's going to show up, so I'm not going to do that. That's a reference to what, Ben?
Several things. Bloody Mary?
Bloody Mary? If you say Bloody Mary 3 times, they show up? Ah.
Candyman.
And?
Beetlejuice. Oh, don't say it even once.
I said once. Okay. Fun stuff. Let's go. Paul says, I love my Mavic Air 2, but it seems that the birds do not. Yeah, that's typical. I put water guards on it to protect both the birds and the drone. Do you have any tips? No, that's a tough one. You just got to know that, birds, I think, are pretty territorial. So if you're in that area, they're probably trying to protect something, a young or something else. And so I would try to stay away from that area, but I know that's a hard one because it's too late by the time they attack the drone. One thing that birds don't do as well is climbing fast. So if you try to avoid a bunch of birds, going up is better than going down. They're used to going down, but they don't have as much physics to go up, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else.
We heard like reflective tape or something.
Put CDs on it. That's what my parents do in their tree to protect fruits. Hanging CDs, AOL CDs. Just kidding. Oh, it's not starting well. All right. Happy RC Flyer says, will anti-gravity A1 arrive in the US before the drone ban hits? Not so. Let me put it this way. Anti-gravity is a Chinese company. Because I don't know, actually. It's a good question because it is related to Insta360, which is a Chinese company. I don't know where anti-gravity is based and where the drones are made. I haven't researched that. I've been deep in 108, so not sure. But with that being said, even if they're Chinese made, the current proposed ban that would go in effect in December, if no audit happens, then they would not be banned. Only DJI and Autel are in that bill. So, yeah, they would not be banned as far as I know. Dave DeVore says, any new word on whether the security audit has begun or not? No word. I would think we would have heard if it did. But it could be, I don't know, it could be in the process. Hard to tell. Creed says, can we get the new DJI drone yet? What's the holdup now? The holdup is still the same at the moment. The holdup is at customs. CBP is blocking these drones from entering the country based on a loophole. I don't even know what you call it, but the Uyghur, I don't remember the name of the act, but it's related to the forced labor on the Uyghur side in China. And yeah, there you have it. So no DJI drones coming into the country at the moment. There's an effective ban for all intents and purposes. With the development of in-house drone, With the development of in-house drone use by the construction industry and saturation in the residential listing market, what do you think the next best use offering for the independent operator? This is something that we've said for a while now, but the best thing you can offer is, first off, something that you're knowledgeable into, right? Knowledgeable with. And then that's going to require a bit more of an investment to get started, because the reason why some of these markets are more flooded, I don't know that I would call it flooded, or more saturated than others, is because of the low cost of entry. And so as soon as you step into something else, something that needs a thermal camera, something that needs a NDVI camera to do plant health, something that needs a bit more knowledge to capture the data, then you start to get into even mapping, of course. Then you get into something that's going to pay higher, and that's going to have less competition because it does require, more of an investment. So, yeah. That would be my recommendation. I'm not picking on a specific market because I don't think that's the goal. But you pick something that you have knowledge in, right? The drone is a tool. It's a flying camera. It's a flying data collector. That's really what it is. What kind of data do you want to collect, and what kind of data are you going to present to your customers, and how you're going to process that data as well is important. Superdank says, please clear this up for me. Do I need a Part 107 to film and post a video online if the object being filmed are indoor and there is a roof overhead? Nope, there's no need for Part 107 if you are flying indoors. Chronic photography syndrome. Interesting. Says I am a homeschool high school student starting my Part 107 course. Awesome. My school paid for your course and it's one of my classes. How challenging will the final exam be for a high school student? Not a problem at all. We actually had a high school student working for us here in the office. He just left to go to college, and he aced the exam after taking the course. So not a problem at all. You got more than you did, yeah. Yeah, I think actually he did get a 98. So yeah, super smart kid. We miss him. Ben, if you're listening, we miss you. Young Ben. Wise, what did we call him? Smart Ben? No. There are two Bens. We have Wise Ben and then Young Ben. Okay. Next, Rick says, when flying in orbit or panning shot, is there one direction that is preferred, clockwise versus counterclockwise, from the left to the right, right to the left? That's an interesting question. So it all depends on the footage that that supersedes it and precedes it. Okay, so depending on how you're going to cut your stuff, you don't want to really break the movement too much, personally, I think. And in general, I learned a long time ago that things that go from, because of the way we read and the way we watch things, that go from left to right is typically better. But again, it all depends on the effect that you're trying to have. So I don't know that there is a good answer, but it all depends on how you're going to fit it with the rest of your footage, if that makes sense. Christian says, have you seen or have any information on the Hover Air Aqua drone? It can take off and land on the water. I have not seen that. But to be fair, I haven't really been online very much other than to look up 108 stuff. Mikey's World says, where in the 108 proposal does it say that recreational pilot must be autonomous? It's not a single location. So the entire proposal for Part 108 essentially states that the drones will be autonomous. It's in the design portion, so I think it's subparagraph G or H or both, where I think it's H actually, where it talks about SUI, simplified user interface, where it talks about the fact that the flight supervisor will not be having access to actual flight controls for the aircraft. Instead, they will have access to an SUI, simplified user interface, that will allow the aircraft to be flown basically on its own with very, very little input from the operator, the supervisor in this case. So it's not a single location per se where that information is going to be. It's going to be pretty much peppered throughout the entire document. If you read the preamble in quite a few places, probably especially for Jason just linked it, 108.810, Simplified User Interaction. If you go in there, you'll see that if you look at the preamble for 108.810, it explains what I just said quite literally, actually, where it basically says you will not have access to traditional controls like a joystick or rudder pedals or this or that. They mention these items specifically. Yep, there you go. Jason quoted, this requirement for SUI features would not permit pilot-in-the-loop design that rely on manual control where the flight coordinator is responsible for providing inputs. Pretty clear, unfortunately. Man of God says, can I legally fly my drone indoors even though I live in a no-fly zone? Yep. Anytime that there is a roof or a cover, then you would be able to fly without Part 107 or anything else. Rick Hahn says, I picked up 4 extra batteries for my Avata 2 to have just in case I can't find them later. How long can they stay in the hibernation mode from DJI before I need to start them charging them? I have not seen any restrictions on how long batteries can be in hibernation. If you look at the user manual, it talks about the hibernation mode. I've never seen a mention of how long that would be. If it were me, I would just take them out of hibernation every once in a while and fly them and then put them back in there. Clint says, have you heard about Florida possibly using drones armed with pepper spray and other features in schools to defend against shooters? Thoughts? Yeah, I saw an article about this. It's actually an article that came out several months ago. We almost talked about it in news updates. And then the story kind of went dormant, and it seems like it caught traction again recently. I had several people sharing it with me. How do I feel about it? I mean, it's an interesting concept for sure. The idea, if you're not familiar with the thing, is that they would have drones, I think, probably positioned like almost like a dock inside of the schools. But when there is a report of a school shooting, then they would be able to get these drones out of this safe location, I'm guessing, probably remotely, and be able to get to the suspect very quickly. I mean, I like the concept, obviously. Anything that would stop somebody from doing harm in schools is a good idea. I have questions, obviously, about how do you get there if the doors are closed, and how do you access unless you have a drone in every single classroom. So I don't know the logistics of it. I don't know how the boots end up on the ground and this happens. But the concept in itself, I don't really have an issue with it. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it too much either, but I did see the headlines a couple times. When you submit a lens request that gets approved, is anyone notified, or is there just a log in case something happens? So that's a good question. We've asked that question multiple times, and the answer is no. Nobody gets notified. Air traffic control has access to the data, we've been told, if they want to look at it. But essentially, Lance, the way that it's been designed. Okay, so I'm going to put a big caveat on that. If you requested below the grid or up to the grid numbers, then nobody gets notified because these areas have already been identified as a safe area where you can safely fly a drone without interfering with another manned aircraft in most cases, okay? The reason I say it this way is because there could still be a manned aircraft flying in that area, but the likelihood of it is pretty low. Which means you still need to have visual line of sight, which means you still need to have command of the airspace. Okay, when you submit a request to go above the grid numbers, then typically ATC will have to review that. Air traffic control will have to review that, and then say yes or no, and then it goes to the FAA for final authorization. So they would know if you're in an area above the grid number in Lance, because, well, that's where they don't expect you. That's why they have these grid numbers. And that's why also you get automation. That's why you get the Lance authorization so quickly, is because it just happens. It just happens like that. It's automated. So yeah. Misery River Bird Observatory says, do you have any tips for someone looking to map at night to get a rough picture of light pollution for a small college campus? Whoa, interesting. Using a Mavic 3M, a multispectral, likely RGB only. Okay, asking for a friend. That is a good question. Maybe Jared, who's in the chat, he already answered. He said, we've tried night mapping. We haven't gotten it to work. Too much noise. Yeah, noise is way too much for the software. You might could do a crazy good. Yeah, you would need a really high-end camera in order to be able to do that. And the problem is that when you start flying when you start flying, it involves micro movement of the drone, vibrations, which means that you can't really do a very long exposure from the drone to get meaningful data. And so, yeah, I can see why this would be an issue. Yeah. Yep, sorry about that one. Until we have better camera technology, I think that's going to be a hard one. Do you think that a red drone like the Fimi Mini 3 is a better choice rather than a DJI Mini 4K to increase the visual line of sight? We've done testing on that. And granted, this is a sample of one. This is just us. But when we did a video one time that we never published, but we did a visual line of sight test where we pushed the limits of visual line of sight to see how far we could really see a drone. And we had the Autel, which was orange, and then we had other drones that were just the typical, gray plastic. And after a while, you still have line of sight of the drone, but the color doesn't matter anymore. It's you no longer can tell that the drone is orange from a distance when you're far enough. So I personally don't think it makes that big of a difference. Some other people may have different results with their own testing, but yeah, based on what we've done, I don't see it. Montana Visual says, providing that an individual obtains, meets, and follows all regulation, Part 107, class of drone, blah, blah, blah. What are your thoughts on live streaming flights via social media for public engagement? Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. You'd need to have a pretty solid connection to be able to live stream, with high enough quality. But yeah, I think I don't see any issues with doing that. Are you optimistic now that for the American manufacturers creating drones, and do you think that a DJI ban is very likely in the future? That's a good question. So let me try to summarize my thoughts. I think the willingness, I think creating drones in America is not going to be up to the American manufacturers. It's going to sound interesting. Okay, let me explain what I mean by that. I think creating the drones in America is going to require a supply chain that is going to be big enough, strong enough to take over the demand. Let's say if DJI gets banned, we know that DJI has 70, 80, 90%. I don't know. Nobody really, I guess I said we know, but nobody really knows what the actual percentage of DJI drones are out there. But it's a big number because we go to shows and we talk to people, and 90% of the time people have a DJI drone. So let's say that DJI goes away tomorrow. If an American manufacturer, and I'll get back to that if an American manufacturer decided to create an Air, a Mavic, or a Mini tomorrow to replace that, to compete with that, how long will it be until they can ramp up production to get to the level where the demand would be met for all the folks that are watching this and everybody else that wants one? And that's why I said I don't think it's up to the American manufacturers necessarily. I think it's the American suppliers of parts for the American manufacturers to assemble these drones. And of course, the American manufacturers that are getting these parts would also need to be able to put them together and to have this the chain to make that happen, the production to make that happen. So I think there's a big thing that needs to be fixed here before we can say we are making drones in the United States. The other difficulty in here is to get the appetite from the American manufacturers to want to build the Mavic and the Airs and the Minis that are the popular drones, right? If you think DJI has 90% of the market, how much of that 90% is a DJI Mini, Air, and Mavic? And my hunch is that it's a big percentage. Probably 75% of that 90% is a DJI Air, Mavic, or Mini. So how do we get American manufacturers to come out and say, we're going to build this kind of drone, a lowish cost drone that is going to appeal to, the almost 500,000 remote pilots that are out there that are using these drones on a regular basis? And the answer to that question is, I don't know. I don't know who out there is interested in doing this. I know we have American manufacturers, but we have a spreadsheet that has 100 and plus drone manufacturers on it. You'd be amazed how many drone manufacturers. We did this exercise like 6 months ago. We went through it and we found every manufacturer that we could find in the world and in the United States. And we looked at their offerings and what they were offerings. And for the vast majority is going to be a larger drone, okay? It's going to be a drone that is more on the enterprise side of things. And it's going to be bigger than a Matrice type drone, or as big as a Matrice type drone. And it's not going to be a Mavic. It's not going to be a Mini. It's not going to be an Air. And so am I optimistic that somebody is going to step up and do this? I don't know. I don't know. I try to be an optimist, but I don't see anybody getting to the forefront to make it happen. Now you might say, well, because DJI is the competition and they don't want to compete with that because it would be difficult. Maybe that's what it is. But if we wait for DJI to be banned, to start doing the R&D, to start getting these drones ready, and to start the production line and to start getting the parts and getting all that, then what? Are we 3 years behind? Are we 4 years behind? Do we not have any drones available for anyone for the next 3 to 5 years? I don't think anybody has the answer to that one. I don't think anybody has the answer to that. And then with the appetite of wanting to be in that space comes a lot of headaches. Autel tried to get into that space, and they're a Chinese manufacturer and they have access to manufacturing plants, but they were never able to ramp up to that level. And then became, the customer service headaches that they had with having to deal with that many drones. We talked to a former executive from Autel who said, who wants to deal with having a warehouse full of drones that are returned because they're broken, because they're not working, because of whatever it is? When you get to that level where you're selling something for rather cheap, what is the incentive to do this when you can make a larger drone and sell it for a higher price point, and not have to deal with that warehouse full of broken toys? So, sorry, that was a very long answer, but I think in general, the answer is beyond the American manufacturers. I think the answer is at the supply level, and I don't believe we have built that supply level to help the American manufacturer be successful in what we're asking them to do. So that's my answer. Sticking to it. And yeah, here we are. Next is Michigan Inspection Services. Oh, and sorry, I think there was another question about, do I think the DJI ban is likely in the future? That's a tough question to answer, but it certainly is not looking good at the moment with, even if we forget about the future ban, it's not looking good right now with the CBP ban that is going on. And that's a ban that kind of came out of nowhere and has been in place now for several months and is hurting the industry. Every time we go to a drone conference, it is hurting the industry. It's hurting small businesses. It's hurting public safety. It's hurting medium-sized businesses that are drone resellers or small drone resellers that now have lost a lot of their revenue because of that. So it's there. If you think about it, the DJI ban is already there. Michigan Inspection Services, let's do that again. Is Autel dropping their consumer drone line and forcing only on enterprise users? It certainly looks like it. It's been several years now since we've seen anything coming out of Autel that is on the consumer side of things. I don't think they've officially announced it, but again, it goes back to what I just said, and quite frankly, at the moment, Autel has other issues because they're on the same boat as DJI. If that audit doesn't get done by December, they're named along with DJI to be one of the banned brand in the United States for future drones, for future FCC approval. Embrace the Adventure says, have you used the NIST training and what are your thoughts on it to assist pilots in getting and maintaining flight proficiency? Yeah, we actually have a course on NIST. We made a course explaining the whole process, how to actually even build the NIST lanes. I think NIST is great. I think it's a way to have standardized training or standardized, what's the word I'm looking for? Evaluation of pilots. And I think you need to, if you're planning on using NIST, you need to get a little bit deeper and see what the next level is after you do the basic lanes. The basic lanes are great for getting somebody started. I think over time, you can use NIST to create almost like scenario-based training, if that makes any sense, for your own department. But there's different ways of approaching, drone training. But this is a standardized way to make sure that over time you can see if somebody is proficient and if they're getting better at what they do. Have you flown the Sky Rover yet? I have not. Like I said, I've been buried in Part 108 and in all the other projects that I've been doing. So, and then we went to Free Fly Fest, if you've seen news updates last week. So that was a day and a half of travel just to get to do that, which was totally worth it. But so I've been trying to hold my head out of the water lately to survive. So no drone flying for me, unfortunately. Any tips for waiver when wanting to use an anti-collision light during daytime hours for increased visibility? I haven't found a daytime rated light that can be seen from 1 statute mile. Yeah, we've told the FAA that. I think I would put the light on top. There is no light that we know of that is visible from 1 statute mile during the day outside. I would put a strobe light that's visible from 3 statute miles and call it good enough. But yeah, it's it comes from a goodwill from the side of the FAA to wanting to do this. Let me be clear. It is important for drones to be visible outside. I think when they asked for that, they did not think about the current offerings and how difficult it actually is to see a light from 1 statute miles away from an aircraft. So, yep. The Mavic 4 Pro drone is now for sale on Amazon. Okay, do you think it'll be available in other stores as well? Not as long as we have the CBP stuff going on. So be careful on Amazon. Obviously, Amazon is a higher level of accuracy when it comes to the sellers, of trust when it comes to the sellers. But be careful what you're getting and who you're giving your money to. But yeah, I've seen them. I'm not saying they're a scam, by the way. I want to be clear, but just be careful. If DJI gets banned, will the app still work, or will that be banned in the US also? No, so far it looks like the proposed ban would be for the new models only. Cal Nordforce, don't know him. I'm going to skip his comment. I'm not reading that. But the woodchuck can chuck a lot. That's the answer. Next up, Ben has an answer. Oh, Ben has an answer. About the same amount as someone who completed all the registration step for commercial UAV that we've been asking them to. That's from Ben, Kyle. So get on it. That's funny. Jason says, not our Jason, another Jason. I have seen drones at many festivals flying over people. Based on the limited approved drones, they must be getting waivers. Is the waiver process generally straightforward, or common approvals? Yeah, so the FAA, about maybe a year ago now, they approved, they released new guidelines for getting a waiver approved more quickly to flying over people, if that's the easiest way I can put it. So if the drone is under 400 grams, not 250, 400 grams, and it has prop guards, and it has a light on it, then it's more likely that you will get approved. You still have to give them all of the stuff that they're requesting to get approved, but these waivers are getting approved much quicker now. And so we have a video on that. It's somewhere on our channel. I don't know if Jason can find it and link it, but yeah, that's where we are. So don't assume that people that are flying over these festivals are approved. But yeah, do it the right way for sure. It's expensive if you lose one of these drones over a crowd and it hits someone. And as a matter of fact, we just looked at this. We just had this discussion last week. I don't know if you guys remember in Orlando around Christmas last year or at the end of the year. I don't remember when it was. There was a drone show and it hit a kid, and the kid ended up in the hospital. He survived, thankfully. But now they're suing the city of Orlando and they're suing the company. Imagine if you were flying over people without an insurance. That company, I'm sure, had an insurance because that's what they did for a living. But if you don't have the proper waivers to fly over people, and you fly over people, even if you think you have insurance, the insurance is going to look at this and be like, you're not approved to do this. Your claim is denied. And now you're basically liable for anything and anyone that comes after you to sue you. And if they're coming to sue you, if you don't have an LLC, even if you have an LLC, they can still come after a lot of what you own. So just be careful with this stuff. Don't be, do it the right way. Let's put it this way. John says, John Morgan. Wait, for the people. Wait, okay. Anyways. John says, I was told our radio interference with Skydio is bad and the drone wouldn't connect. Yes, so I think what John is talking about, there was a memo, I don't know, I think it was a couple days ago, over the weekend or Friday, probably Friday, from Skydio that came out that said that the radios that public safety agencies use can cause a loss of signal between the ground control station and the aircraft, and that this is something that they were working on and blah blah blah. So it's made its round. I don't think it's unique to Skydio. Let's be clear. I think it's a from the reports I've seen from users, actual users out there, they have reported that this is the case for a lot of blue UAS type drones or NDA type drones. And so you have it. Radio are interfering with other radios. It's not a good thing for sure. It's good on them to acknowledge it. My question would be, how long has this drone been out, which is the X10, and why is it the first time that this is happening? I'm sure it's happened for a while. Why would it all of a sudden be an issue and it wasn't before? So I don't know. I'm not sure what else to say about this, but yeah, it is bad if you have radio interference and it forces your drone to go into return to home mode, and then Mikey says, what is PI's take on the folks on the ASTM F-38 committee? I heard they were full of AUVSI suits. Well, yikes. I thought the F-38 committee was the parachute committee. Oh, that's the unmanned system in general. I don't know. I don't know the folks. I don't know who's on there. But yeah. Hopefully it's not full of AUVSI people. They've messed up enough in this industry as it is. But ASTM in general, I have pretty high regard for them. They come up with good stuff, so I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Coast to Coast Drone says, are gray market Mavic 4 Pros legal to fly in the United States? Yes, the Mavic 4 has an FCC approval, so it would be legal to fly in the United States. As far as remote ID, I don't know actually if it has DOC approval. So if it doesn't, you'd have to put a module on top of it. But I don't know. I have to look it up. Jason would know. I think he checked on that before. He'll tell us in the chat. I haven't looked at the list. I just changed browser, so I don't have all my links right now, unfortunately, that I can go to for the DOC list. Oh no, I do right here. Let's find out. Live. Declaration of compliance. Mavic 4. The gray market, it's like the between the black market and the white market. And if you get 18% gray, it's about 18% between the two. Amy's laughing. Different market than the piggy goes to. Yeah. Hold on. Mavic 4.
Is it near Whole Foods?
It's right next to Whole Foods. Oh, it is in here. Mavic 4 Pro. It is approved for remote ID. So yeah, you'd be good to fly it for sure. Now I lost my page because of you.
Oh, is that our fault?
Yeah. No, because of whoever asked that question. Because now I had to leave. Yeah, I'm switching back to a different browser. So.
How many tabs do you have open?
You know the answer to that. Huh? How many tabs? 20? What am I, newbie? 20 tabs? No, I have a lot of tabs open always. Shit. Okay. Let me get back to my page here. People are listening, Ben. You can't like disrupt me like this. Next, I have a DJI Phantom 3 Pro 4K drone, and I was certified as a recreational pilot in your program on YouTube. I wanted to know if I have to recertify by the time registration again. So if you're flying recreationally, you more than likely got the trust, I think is what you're talking about. Trust is a one-time thing, and that's it. So you do not need to recertify or get current again. Obviously, it's always good to be current in what you do, but in this case, no, your registration is good for 3 years. Every 3 years, you got to get it renewed, and that's about it. So, all right. Well, we're out of question. Look at that.
Done for the day.
Done for the day.
Early.
15 minutes to go.
Early release.
Let's go play ping pong.
Yeah? Do you want to give a sneak peek of the next thing that's coming to purchase?
What's the next thing that's coming to purchase? Oh, yeah. We have something for sale, right? And it's not this black t-shirt that nobody's made comments on yet.
Amy did, but I told her retract that comment.
Take it back. Yeah. This is a one of one. This is a one of one.
This is not available yet.
Yeah, bring it. Bring it. We have something coming out as the next item. We are almost, I think we actually pulled out the landing page. I think we're out or really close to being out, and we're keeping a couple locally.
Not available yet.
Not available. So why are we showing it?
That's why I asked you.
You're such a tease. All right. Am I doing a Vanna White presentation?
If you are, you're doing a bad job.
Yeah. That's the next item. Oh, this is the one that's printed on both sides. So that it's a left-handed and a right-handed cup. Look at that. And then it comes right here. You get a little thing. 12 ounce, just enough so that you get your drug fix. And then that's it. That's all you need. 12 ounces. It's cool. It actually keeps it really warm. It's been raining all day today, which is really nice. And then I've been drinking out of mine. But mine is the prototype. It's only on one side. So, yep. Everybody's going to watch Starship. Not yet. It hasn't launched yet, right? They're still... They're late. Oh, an hour. There's an hour left. You're good. They delayed the launch, I think. So, all right. Let's get back to the real question. Do we have more questions? Put your questions in the comments if you want them answered, and then we will get to them.
Reminder, we don't have a live next week, so you better get those questions now.
Yeah. Jared says he'll take 5 already. We got hats, Scott. We do have hats. Wait, the hats. No, we don't have hats anymore. I shut down the other store that we had. They were doing a terrible job, so I shut them down. We will have hats soon. We have them in the office, but we don't have a page to sell them at the moment. Okay. All right, we got some questions again. Jason, don't forget Jared's question as well in there. Okay, next, Mikey says ASTM F354821 is on UTM. Oh, I'll have to go look. I don't. I'll have to go take a look. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me what you said earlier about that, because UTM the way that this Part 108 UTM section was written, it looked like it was written by somebody who's never flown, which makes sense that a UVSI would be involved. Can you fly on a airplane with a drone? Yes, you can fly. You can take your drone with you in the airplane. As a matter of fact, you need to take it with you in your carry-on bag because they don't allow for batteries to be in the cargo compartment. So don't check your bag with batteries in it. You can check the drone, but no battery. I don't recommend you check the drone. I would just keep it with you. And then there you have it. Do you have any knowledge of Adorama, the New York City dealer? Yeah, Adorama has got a good reputation. Are they reputable? Furthermore, in the event they do start shipping DJI again, do you have any advice on the Adorama Protect? I don't know what the Protect is, but Adorama has been around for a long time on the drone side and on the just regular equipment, AV equipment and all these things. So they're definitely reputable out there. But they have the same issue as everybody else, you know, not being able to sell DJI stuff at the moment. Jared says, bring mugs to commercial UAV. Look at that, where we started. Oh, somebody's getting banned in the chat. Don't be that guy.
Is it Jared?
No, it's not Jared.
Is it Kyle?
It is not Kyle. Surprisingly, it's not Kyle. It's somebody who likes rainbow. Somebody who likes rainbows and unicorns, apparently. But no. Well, yeah, that too, but. Cloud Camper says, I'm looking into buying an FPV drone that I guess is not coming with the serial number. Okay. And it's over 249 grams. Do I register it with the FAA? Yeah, you register it with the FAA. There's a little section in there for home built. And then for serial number, you can say not applicable. So, yep. I wonder who dropped the hammer in the chat. Almost never happens anymore. We have well-behaved chat members. Thank you. I'm sure we'll hear about it as soon as we hang up. Mountainman says, can you use the same remote ID module on different drones or do you need a different remote ID per drone? Okay, good question. So that depends if you're flying recreationally or if you're flying under Part 107. If you're flying recreationally, you can use the same drone. You can use the same module for all your drones. If you're flying under Part 107, for now, you need to have one remote ID module per drone, per registration. I just saw an ad from the Z remote ID, ZRID, whatever that brand is. They just sent me a message, an email, promo email that says, if you buy one, you get two for free. So it's a third of the price at the moment for one of those. I didn't click to see what the price was, but yeah. Texas Dronco says, talk to us about the Part 108 flight areas and the categories. Ooh, you've got a good half hour to talk about this. Flight areas. So Part 108, for those of you that are not familiar, is a new proposed regulation. At the moment, the way that it is proposed, the FAA would need to approve the proposed area where you're going to be flying your drone under Part 108. And they created a new categorization of population density of areas based on population density. It's 5 categories, category 1 through 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these depend on how many people are in that segment within like a mile of a population center, blah, blah, blah. So we get a hold of a map that shows that. And it's really interesting because, and for each category, for each area of population density, there are different types of restrictions. And so these restrictions vary depending on the higher you go, the more restrictions there are. But what we found is that it's very easy to qualify to be a category 1, which is like very low population density. But we found spots around us that are kind of in the middle of nowhere and end up being a category 1 because there is one structure right there. And then it's very easy to qualify for 2, 3, and 4. The difference between 2 and 4 is actually not as much as you think. And I've been giving this example that we have a little town, town village. Well, it's not a village; it's a town that's north of us here, and it's called Chino Valley, and it's a typical rural town that doesn't really. It's not overly populated. It's pretty stretched out, and that town qualifies for 2, 3, and some areas of it qualify for 4. If you go to like the center of the town, even though there's not really a downtown in that place, it's a category 4. And category 5 is very difficult to get to. There is only like a handful of areas in the country that qualify as category 5. So the jump between 2 and 4 is very tiny. The jump between 4 and 5 is massive, and to the point where pretty much anything that's going to have enough people is going to qualify as category 4. So where am I getting with this? I don't know, but I'm getting there. And it's because Jared asked. So yeah, these categories have been defined. So am I a fan of this? Not really. I think the categories need to be redefined because they don't make a whole lot of sense right now. But that's something that we're going to work in our comments, and then we'll let you guys know what comes out of it, essentially. Woo. 115 category 5 areas, Jason says, and these are like tiny. It's 0.15% of the categorized area is a category 5. All the other categories are pretty much kind of equal in the percentage. Okay, I don't know what's going on in there. Flying Brian says, are we going to start seeing green Mini 5 Pros and Mini 4 and Mavic 4 Pros coming from Malaysia through Austin? I don't think that's the market that Enzu is going after. So Enzu is using the Mavic 3 Enterprise platform and selling them under the Enzu brand legally, but that's an enterprise level thing. It's not, they're not going after the consumer market. So I doubt it. I'm going to see their CEO at Com UAV. I'm going to ask him again, but I'm going to guess the answer is probably going to be no. Understandably so. Kevin says, is that the ceramic coated cup? I don't know. What does ceramic coated looks like? It's metal underneath something, and it's painted. I'm so good at describing things. I don't know. I would have to look it up. I'm not sure, but it's your typical insulated mug. You know, what? How would you describe it?
Ethically sourced.
Ethically sourced.
And yeah.
Organic, certified organic.
Certified.
Kosher.
0.22 carat steel plated.
0.22 carat.
Steel plated.
Steel plated.
Yeah.
With aluminum.
Just the bottom.
Just the bottom. Okay. Don't put it in microwave. That's all I'm going to say. Powder coated. Yeah, it is powder coated. That's the best way to put it. Thank you, Jason. It's not ceramic. The inside would be white. Oh, that's true. I know what ceramic is. Yeah, it's not ceramic. It's metal on the inside. Hawaiian Girl Adventures says, will the mugs be available at the Commercial UAV Expo in Vegas? I think the page by then will be available. Yes. So we can share that. Absolutely. Carl says, or if you stop by the booth, we'll give you one. How about that? We'll bring a couple.
Oh, geez. I'm going to have to bring a bunch.
Well, you can bring them. We're driving. Carl says, what would you expect to pay for insurance as backup? Say you only fly under Part 17 a few times a year. That's a tough one, but I mean, from a few $100 a year if you don't fly a whole lot to like close to $1,000 a year. It's hard to tell. It depends on your fleet, depends on if you get coverage for the drones, just for liability, where you're flying in the United States, what kind of operation you do, if you fly over people, if you don't. I know you said, a few times a year under Part 17, but I would get a quote. Quotes are free. I would just do that. I see that Covered Drone has Matrice 4T listed for sale. And is this likely a glitch since enterprise drones are tricky from DJI right now? It may not be. It may not be. The Matrice is less likely to be blocked at customs than the consumer drone. Don't ask me why, but that's what I've been told. Paul says, can the pilot in command be PIC of more than one drone at a time? No, you cannot. That is a limitation in Part 107. Will a drone like the Hover Aqua that takes off and lands on the water with AGL then be 400 feet from the water? Would that be ASL? No. Mean sea level, it's not ASL, it's MSL, but I understand what you're saying. Mean sea level is based on the average height of the sea level across the world. So it would be based on, you always measure based on ground. And when we say AGL, water is ground. Okay? So if you're on top of a lake that's on top of a mountain that's at 5,000 feet elevation, like we have a lake here. That lake is at 5,000 feet elevation. The base of the lake is at 5,000 feet MSL. But if we fly 400 feet, we're flying 400 feet above the lake. That's 400 feet AGL. You mention. Whoa. Okay. Flying indoors. So if you're attaching something to, how high can you fly with a payload prior to being unlawful? Payload or no payload, 400 feet above the ground. That's how high you can fly. I hope that makes sense. Minot, Engineer Drone Services, our good friend, says, maybe I missed it, but taking off from water is 400 feet AGL above the water surface. Yeah. I mean, AGL above ground level, whatever the ground is made of, snow, ice, water, dirt, whatever it is, then yeah. On the issue of drone insurance, what would you suggest as minimum coverage? Minimum coverage for your insurance is going to be dictated by your customers. So most customers will ask for 1 million liability coverage, and some customers may go as high as 4 or 5 million liability coverage. So it depends on your customer. If they ask for $5 million, they're more than likely going to pay more for that. So I would definitely charge more if they ask for 5 million, because it's going to be more expensive. Okay, we get a couple more and then we'll be good. As Part 107 pilot, I'm going to guess that we will not be required to get Part 108 unless we plan flying out of line of sight. That's correct. So the way it's proposed, remember, this is only a proposal at the moment, but the way it's currently proposed, your Part 107 would become visual line of sight only. Part 108 would be beyond visual line of sight. Obviously, we're trying to change that a little bit. There's a big gap. We actually call it the gap in our paperwork. There's a big gap because right now, Part 108 is autonomous flights only, and we don't like that. We believe there is a big gap that is currently filled with waivers, and they're trying to remove, for people that are flying BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight, manually or semi-autonomous with a waypoint mission. These people would be kind of out of luck if Part 108 goes as planned. So, like I said, we're going to have more information on that. Be patient. Wait a little bit before you fill out your comments. We're going to have a full list of things that people should be discussing. And yeah, are we going to be right on time for the launch? Is that what's happening? Somebody said T minus 2 minutes. It still says 1 hour on the website. Wait, did I? Maybe not. Let's go live and see what's going on. Oh yeah, it's about to launch. All right, well, let's end the show. Go watch the launch. Perfect transition. You've got 34 seconds. Thank you all. And we will not be here next week, so make sure that you don't show up. Come and see us in in Vegas at Commercial UAV Expo. Come say hi. We've got goodies. We've got everything. Thanks for watching, and then we will see you then. You've got 26 seconds to get to the Starship launch. Talk to you later.